represented those people who can't represent themselves, a man with institutional knowledge that spans 4 decades in public life. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege and pleasure and honor to introduce the great Senator Bob Menendez.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your warm welcome and for hosting us today. I appreciate it. I want to thank all of the women and leaders and office holders who have joined us today. You'll hear from some of them, but I appreciate all of you joining us. Thanks for coming. I'm going to keep my remarks brief because I'm worried about what language I might use. I want to say 3 things about this despicable, lie-ridden campaign ad from my desperate Republican opponent, Bob Hugin, which stoops so low with its bogus lies that it might as well have been directed by Donald Trump himself. First point, these are lies. I know it, you know it, and Bob Hugin damn sure knows it as well. Yesterday, Crew, the top government ethics watchdog in Washington, even called my opponent despicable for putting this garbage on the air. Just this morning, fact checkers with the Washington Post gave Bob Hugin not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Pinocchios for these outright lies. Likewise, the New York Times concludes that Bob Hugin's ad, quote, attempts to paint an overall unproven accusation as supported by federal law enforcement when that is simply not the case. So these were lies 6 years ago when they were pushed by an anonymous tipster to the right-wing Daily Caller. They were lies when they were first debunked by reputable news outlets like the Washington Post, ABC, and CNN, and they are lies today. Here's a March 2013 CNN report that I think spells out the lies pretty clear.
That sensational story about Senator Robert Menendez supposedly patronizing prostitutes in the Dominican Republic seemed to unravel this week. It was days before Menendez was up for re-election when the conservative website The Daily Caller said that 2 women, it would not provide their names, alleged that they'd had sex with the New Jersey senator. Now, most news organizations shied away from the unsubstantiated allegations, which Menendez vehemently denied. The Washington Post this week reported on affidavits in which one prostitute said she was paid to lie about Menendez. Here's Post reporter Carol Lenig.
What we now know is that one woman who's an escort in the Dominican Republic and one man, a lawyer in the Dominican Republic, have gone to Dominican authorities, sought immunity from prosecution for any involvement in a smear or slander campaign, and have sworn in affidavits that they were hoodwinked into making a tape of some sort where they recited a script about having sex for money with Senator Menendez and also a wealthy donor friend of his.
The Daily Caller, standing by its story, says the paper has the wrong prostitute, which, if true, would be quite a coincidence. Here's the Daily Caller's founder and editor, Tucker Carlson, with a somewhat skeptical Bill O'Reilly.
I say the Washington Post story is ludicrous. The Washington Post story was an attempt to take down our story, but if you read it carefully, and trust me, we did, it doesn't achieve that. They hold up an affidavit in their piece as evidence that the woman we interviewed was lying. We're not mentioned in the affidavit. It has nothing to do with the story we did, and in fact, it's not at all clear that the woman they're talking about is the same woman we interviewed.
That person is pretty much protected. They're anonymous. I don't know, it makes me a little queasy, Tucker.
I get it. This is one of the basic conundrums of journalism. It's something we deal with every day.
Turns out that ABC News had interviewed the Dominican prostitutes and then did one of the hardest things in journalism, refused to carry a juicy story because it was just too flimsy. Chief investigative reporter Brian Ross recounts what happened.
As Menendez campaigned for re-election last year, Republican operatives secretly went into overdrive to implicate him in a sex scandal.
Is that the same person you had sex with?
And they all provided the same story almost word for word, as if they had been coached.
Now, I can't prove that the Daily Caller is wrong in saying that its reporter spoke to different prostitutes, but the FBI has found no evidence in this case, and the caller hasn't proven that case. Based on these latest reports, it's clear that someone was out to smear Menendez and to use the media in doing so.
Hugin is spreading so many lies that it's almost hard to keep track. I'm not going to go through all of these, but let me just take a simple one for you. Hugin mistakenly cites a black book pointed out by an FBI agent while conveniently leaving out that this very same FBI agent later amended his affidavit to clarify that he was mistaken about the name Dixie, which was actually a trash company. The FBI also failed to find a single woman who could substantiate these false claims because they don't exist. They were phantoms invented by one of the most dishonest Daily Caller's right-wing fever dreams. The only women who were ever identified by the FBI unequivocally and categorically refuted these statements or recanted and admitted to law enforcement that they were paid to lie about me. Second point. It's absolutely disgusting that Bob Hugin would attack me for saying on the Senate floor that it's time we believe survivors. It most certainly is time that we believe survivors. Unlike Bob Hugin, I believed Dr. Christine Blasey Ford when she risked it all to go on the record on an attempted rape by Brett Kavanaugh. I'm proud to have voted against Kavanaugh's nomination. We should all be appalled by Bob Hugin's willingness to equate right-wing, fabricated, refuted, and recanted claims with the voices of millions of survivors across America who are finally being empowered in this society to break their silence and speak truth to power. If Bob Hugin wants to talk about believing women, then he also has to believe the women who admitted to law enforcement that they were paid to lie about me. Final point. This deceitful, despicable attack ad tells you everything you need to know about Republican Bob Hugin. That he's a slimeball, he's a misogynist, and he's a liar. Bob Hugin is down in the polls, he's wrong on the issues, and he's desperate to distract the people of New Jersey from his own shameful record. Remember, Hugin is the man who went to the Supreme Court of the United States in a sexist crusade to keep women out of his all-male dining club. Bob Hugin is the man as a greedy drug company CEO who lied to cancer patients about potentially deadly side effects, who the government accused of defrauding Medicare and marketed its overpriced drugs for unapproved purposes. The Department of Justice accused him and his company in a federal lawsuit of putting patients at risk in order to do what? To boost sales. A lawsuit that he paid $280 million to avoid trial and avoid taking responsibility. Bob Hugin is the man who supported Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation to the Supreme Court despite multiple credible allegations of sexual assault, just like he supported Donald Trump's election to the White House despite multiple allegations of sexual assault. So there you have it. My Republican opponent, Bob Hugin, is resorting to vicious lies because the truth is not on his side. He can't go after me because of my record in support and strengthening the Violence Against Women's Act, or being one of the lead sponsors of the International Violence Against Women's Act, or my lead with Senator Bob Corker on human trafficking legislation that passed and got into law, or protecting reproductive rights, or expanding health care coverage to 1 million people across New Jersey. The fact he's resorted to a blatant, debunked lies only confirms that Bob Hugin is full of it when he says that he's a different type of Republican. When you lie like this, you show the people of New Jersey you're a Trump kind of Republican. Hugin apparently not only supports Donald Trump's morally bankrupt agenda, but he's also adopted his dirty brand of lying for political gain. And today I'm releasing a new ad to set the record straight.
Bob Hugin is lying about Bob Menendez.
The FBI has found no evidence in this case.
And Hugin knows it.
It's clear that someone was out to smear Menendez.
Hugin was willing to do anything to get rich, including misleading cancer patients. Now he's willing to do anything to get elected, including lying.
One prostitute said she was paid to lie about Menendez.
Bob Hugin is willing to do anything except tell the truth.
FBI has found no evidence in this case.
I'm Bob Menendez, and I approve this message.
So as I said before, Bob Hugin is a desperate man. He's down in the polls, he's out of step with the people of New Jersey, and he's desperate to distract voters from his shameful record. New Jerseyans deserve a debate on the real issues that face their lives every day. Every day. How do we expand the health care that I began to create for New Jerseyans, and 1 million New Jerseyans who have health care, who didn't have it before the Affordable Care Act? 3.8 million New Jerseyans who no longer have to worry about pre-existing condition discrimination. Women who no longer have to be worried to be paid twice as much as their male counterpart in the same age group, in the same geography. The fact of being able to make sure that we can build an economy that works for all, not just for the wealthiest 1/10 of 1% of the largest corporations, as is evidenced by a tax bill that put $2 trillion on the nation's future. The next generation of New Jerseyans who will have to pay that debt, but took away our full deductibility on state and local property taxes. 1.8 million New Jerseyans get hit with an $8,000 hit for each of those families, and so much more. How do we make sure that our kids get graduated from college without graduating under a mountain of debt? These are the things that New Jerseyans deserve to have a debate on. They certainly don't deserve better than this slimiest of sleazeballs. So with that, let me call upon some of the women who are here with us today, starting with Elizabeth Meyer, the founder of the New Jersey Women's March.
The levels to which this campaign has eroded is jaw-dropping. Bob Hugin's latest attack ad shows a ferocity of character that no politician should ever demonstrate. His 11th hour attack on the senator is a desperate bomb that is filled with nothing but innuendo and old, unsubstantiated breadcrumbs. It conveniently ignores facts. These accusations, provided by an anonymous tipster, later revealed as a political foe, were investigated by the FBI, crew, and journalists from multiple news organizations in New Jersey and nationally for months on end. The FBI said in an affidavit that they could not identify any women, nor did they lay out any probable cause, the low bar of our legal system. Bob Hugin's latest $1 million move is right out of the Trump playbook. He holds up a shiny, outlandish lie, a calculated distortion of truth, serves it up with a helping of provocative rhetoric, and hopes that you'll focus on it to distract from his own agenda or shortcomings. And he clearly takes no moral issue with utilizing salacious lies to win. Because, let me guess, it won't matter, he'll say, because, in the words of his president, we won. Bob Hugin isn't a different kind of Republican. He's proving that he's an apprentice. Watching this campaign, so filled with negativity and nastiness, has turned many stomachs and served to reinforce voter apathy. Have we reached a place where a campaign cannot be hard fought without viciously attacking opponents and tearing apart characters? Have we lost that map to the high road? This race comes up in conversations that I have with voters most of all. They tell me, many of them, that they are done with the mudslinging and that our political climate coming out of Washington is toxic enough and we don't need it brought home here. Or they admit that corruption allegations have them turning away from the senator. People are either not going to vote or cast protest votes. I understand that feeling. Considering the circumstances, it's a reasonable point of view. Considering the circumstances, we need to look at this race with a much more discriminating eye. We need to get real here. and stop the trash talking and innuendo and start looking at things through a more educated, fact-based lens. We are 20 days out from a very critical election. We need to clear the smoke and mirrors and focus on what's real. I'm someone who deals in fact, not conjecture. So here's what I know to be true. I'm a woman. I'm a mother of 2 little girls. Women's issues matter to me. If you look at Senator Menendez's voting record, he has been a consistent advocate for women's rights, including access to health care for more than 2 decades in the Senate. He has defended a woman's right to choose, has a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood. He was a co-sponsor of the Women's Health Protection Act. He was instrumental in passing the Affordable Care Act. He's the chief sponsor of the Equal Rights Amendment, and he's fought for equal pay for equal work. He has proven that he has my back, my daughter's back, and the backs of all New Jersey women. Senator Menendez has an extensive record fighting for issues that matter to most of us here in New Jersey, who aren't sitting on millions of dollars. That includes keeping our kids and communities safe from gun violence, protecting the rights of the LGBTQ community, workers, immigrants, voters, and consumers. He's helped to ensure students can pay for college without having to climb out from underneath mountains of debt. My own husband, who's 47, just paid off his final student loans just last year. You know, since Trump took office, this son, father, and grandfather has been a clear and consistent voice against his dangerous policies and nominees. He has stood up every day as our voice to say, no, New Jersey will not be silent. We will not allow this country to go backwards. Look, I'm not standing here next to the senator because I've gotten any incentives or gifts. I couldn't even get in the room to meet Hillary Clinton the other night. I have no political aspirations. I'm not auditioning for a job, and I've never taken a penny from anyone for the work that I do. I'm here for one reason, because I believe in Senator Menendez's ability to do his job as our voice in the Senate, period. We have a choice to make in 3 weeks. We each have a vote, and we have to decide where to put that vote so that it has the most impact. There are 2 candidates in this race that can win it, Senator Menendez and Bob Hugin. It may be a choice that some may not like or disagree with, but it is the choice that we have. And if it's a vote for Senator Menendez or a vote for someone who has financially and publicly supported Trump, far-right candidates, Kavanaugh, the Heritage Foundation, and fought a legal case for decades to discriminate against women and led a petition drive to exclude members of the LGBT community from anti-discrimination protections, voting for Senator Menendez makes sense. Look, we're all free to put our vote wherever we would like. It is the right of a true democracy of we the people. I just want us to be smart voters too, to be educated about the issues, to recognize what is manufactured, and to foresee the impact that our votes have. We cannot cast aside what is great in pursuit of what is perfect. November 2016 showed us the enormous effect division has on an election and how powerful one vote, or choosing not to vote, can really be. If we have divisions within our party here in New Jersey, we need to work them out after November 6th. Today, we must unify to take back Congress. Senator Menendez fights for us every day in Washington. He knows that he represents all of us in New Jersey, not just CEOs, big corporations, or its wealthiest residents. We need his voice to continue to push back against our president. We need to send him back to the Senate on November 6th.
Thank you, Elizabeth. State Senator Nellie Pope.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, let me just say that I'm very happy to be here and proud to be standing right next to our U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. And while that may not be a big surprise to all of you because you know of what my long-standing relationship has been with Senator Menendez because of not only his commitment to our community, commitment to the residents and citizens, all the citizens of New Jersey, but because we know that he has been the #1 champion, the #1 fighter for us in New Jersey throughout his entire tenure, from the very beginning when he was involved in the New Jersey legislature. I won't speak about all your earlier years, but because we all know that, but certainly from a statewide level, from the New Jersey legislature right on through Congress and through now in the U.S. Senate. The women that are standing behind me stand proudly and firmly behind Senator Bob Menendez. You've heard Elizabeth Meyer speak with regards to the importance of why we need to re-elect him. You've heard all of the differences between a Bob Menendez and a Bob Hugin. I do not want to repeat all of that. You've heard that loud and clear. You hear it each and every day, whether you read it in the newspaper, whether it's on TV or some of your very own reporting. I will say this, I have yet to hear any public policy that Hugin stands for. You have heard Ms. Meyer speak about Senator Menendez's record. We have yet to hear any policy of what Hugin would be looking to do for New Jersey. Yet, all we kept hearing about, and everything that we hear in the news, is about the negative, the negativity and the criticism of what comes out of his mouth and his entire campaign. I too believe that clearly there must be a host of students taking up the one class of President Trump's playbook. Clearly, they must be the good students, because all they have to do is continue to do the lie, say it over and over and over again, and assume that New Jersey is going to accept it and believe it. No, we're smarter than that. We are bright. We know who we're voting for, and we know that who is really going to make a difference. So I am here to certainly make that counter to talk about the importance of this election and to do an outcry to the people of our great state. I am speaking to all of you right this very second, to our citizens. Please vote on November 6th. It's so important. This election could not be more important for all of us here in New Jersey. Make sure to come out and vote for our U.S. Senator, our champion, Bob Menendez.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Poe.
Thank you.
And now Nadia Hussain, who is the founder of the Bangladeshi American Women's Development Initiative.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm here today as not only a woman, but as a New Jersey citizen and a voter in New Jersey. And what I wanted to say is I am so offended that the Bob Hugin campaign and Bob Hugin himself would co-opt the Me Too movement, co-opt actual stories of suffering that women have faced and are still facing for his own insidious political gain. Now, when we talk about Me Too, when we talk about bereaved survivors, words mean nothing to me. Actions mean everything. What we've seen in Hugin's actions is he supports Supreme Court Justice now, Brett Kavanaugh. Over and over, he has shown his 100% rubber stamp support for Donald Trump, and every insidious word, every insidious statement, and every insidious policy move that Donald Trump has made. Hugin has shown that he supports Brett Kavanaugh. He supports Trump after Trump mocked Dr. Ford in front of a crowd. This is not a man who is pro-woman. This is not a man who believes survivors. This is a man who uses money to try to create a smokescreen to scare and to lie to New Jersey voters. Senator Menendez is not talk. The speakers who came before me told you about his extensive record supporting women, his extensive record supporting the citizens of New Jersey and the people who live here. He has supported the ACA, which before the ACA, pregnancy was considered a pre-existing condition. Most women in America give birth. That he made sure that women were being protected and supported and believed when it came to their health care. All of his policies have shown that he puts women first. All Hugin has shown is he's willing to co-opt the stories of women, the suffering of women, to lie, to spread insidious insults, and to create a smokescreen so that New Jersey residents and voters won't actually vote for the survivors and for people who actually need the support. Another thing is a vote for Bob Hugin is a rubber stamp for the Trump administration. Bob Hugin donated millions of dollars to the Republican Party and to Donald Trump during his election. This is after Donald Trump made the pea-grabbing statement, right? That was on record. It's recorded. It's not an allegation. You can't argue about that. That was on record. It's on radio. And he kept giving him money, follow the money, see where the money is gone after all of these statements. On this video, we saw Bill O'Reilly waxing poetic about believing survivors. We know Bill O'Reilly has actually assaulted and harassed his own female employees and actually got kicked out of his network. So how about this? Let's believe the record of somebody who actually supports women with his actions instead of insidious lies, instead of a smokescreen, instead of having somebody who offensively takes the stories of survivors and twists it for their own political gain. So I'm here to say, I'm Nadia Hussein. I'm a voter in New Jersey. I'm a woman. And Bob Hugin, I'm not stupid. The voters of New Jersey are not stupid. You do not have our vote. We do not believe you. And we will stand up to these lies on November 6th. Thank you.
And our last speaker is Passaic Councilwoman Thania Mello. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Senator. I just saw a pin that really caught my attention. Fact matters. So I'm calling out to New Jersey. Facts matter. As we've seen, everything is all alleged. So therefore, Bob Hugin is lying. We can get facts on him, not on the allegations that were made to our great senator down in the Dominican Republic, where people actually came up and said, the woman said she was paid. So New Jersey, we know what we've experienced under the Republicans. We've known that we've suffered. Our state has suffered. Our country is suffering right now. As a woman, as a Latino, as a Dominican woman, I call out to New Jerseyans, Dominican women. Let's stand up. We're not here to back on the Republicans' lie. No, we're not going to do that. We know the senator track record. We know what he stands for. We know what he believes. He believes in immigrants. He believes in women. He believes in our students, our youth. That's what we're here for. We want facts. We don't want any lies. Okay? As a Hispanic that's currently holding the highest seat, Senate, our senator, he's really proven his track records. So I call out to New Jersey, to women, please. Don't let these lies take over. No, November 6th, you know how we fight that? By coming out to vote, contacting our family members. Come out to vote. We cannot let our senator go. If New Jersey gets another Republican, we're going to suffer. We've suffered for many years under the previous administration here with a governor. We saw everything that we encountered. So I'm please calling out. Come out and vote for our senator. And Senator, City of Passaic is with you. And you will have our voters come out on November 6th and vote for you. Thank you.
Okay, let me just say a few words in Spanish and then I'll answer a few questions. Le agradezco a todas las mujeres que están aquí con nosotros hoy para desmentir el anuncio de mi contrincante republicano Bob Hugin, que nunca en mi vida pública he visto un anuncio tan bajo, tan mentiroso, tan falta de la verdad como el del señor Hugin. Varios fuertes e independientes, CNN, el Washington Post, el New York Times, entre otros, han rechazado completamente la base de su anuncio, diciendo que es completamente falso. No debo estar sorprendido de que mi contrincante, que se ha tirado en esta elección de lo más bajo que yo he visto en toda mi vida pública en este estado, vaya a hacer esto. Pero llegó a un nivel más bajo que yo he visto en mi vida entera de servicio público de más de 44 años. Esa es la realidad en lo que nos encontramos. Tiene millones de dólares para tratar de promover sus mentiras, pero la mentira todavía es mentira. La mentira, en fin, nunca va a poder ganar. Y por eso estamos aquí hoy con las líderes de nuestra comunidad femenina para enseñar de que esas mentiras van a ser rechazadas completamente el 6 de noviembre. Let me answer a few questions and then, yes.
Senator, the Hugin campaign seems to be hanging its argument on one passage in a federal court filing in 2015. It was in reply to your motion to dismiss the indictment, and it says the federal government was, quote, presented with specific corroborated allegations that Melgen and Menendez had sex with underage prostitutes in the Dominican Republic. It has that word corroborated in it. That's what they say lends truth to their ad. What do you say?
So I'll answer this. I'm not going to get into every single element of their outrageous, false, despicable statements. Let me go to the heart of this one. Look at the Washington Post fact check. Look at the New York Times fact check. What the government was referring to was a guy whose pseudonym was Pete Williams, of all things, Pete Williams. Never found who Pete Williams was. Crew tried to meet who he sent the original allegations to. Crew tried to meet Pete Williams. Crew tried to talk to Pete, this pseudonym, this fictitious person, on the phone. Never talked to this person on the phone, never met them. Then the FBI, who Crew sent the information to, try to do the same thing. Speak to him? No. Meet with him? No. So it never was a reality. So if you, what the Hugin campaign fails to do, and this is part of their deception, just like they all lied to you when they said they were waiting for the FBI report to make a decision on Kavanaugh. He knew he would never get to read the FBI report. Only members of the Senate got to read that. So he jerked you along for a while longer to ultimately then finally say, yes, I'm for Kavanaugh. But he lied to you when he told the press, well, I'm waiting to see what the FBI report is. The FBI report is never going to be made public. He knew that. And it's the same thing they're doing now in this lie. They failed to put the first part of that affidavit, which said that according to this pseudonym non-existent person, that they said those things. That's the corroboration. It's not the FBI saying that. And I think that the Washington Post and the New York Times specifically go to the granular elements of this and point out that it's an inconvenient truth for the Hugin campaign, one that they maliciously overlook. It's never been about the FBI. So it's been about this fictitious person that no one ever found, no one ever met, no one ever talked to. Dave?
Senator, two things. Do you feel that his attempt is, oh, there's something there, where there's smoke, there's fire, Melgen was convicted, he's your friend, there's something fishy there, and thus to paint you with a broad brush here? And the other thing is, when we heard from Hugin yesterday, he said, no, these are not from 6 years ago, these aren't from 5 years ago, these are new allegations, we've never heard from these women before. Your reaction to him saying that?
It's an outright lie. It's a lie. Just go look at the timetable of the reality. The references made go all the way back to 2012, when this right-wing Daily Caller conspiracy was generated that was totally debunked, then by CNN, ABC, Washington Post, and other reputable news organizations who spent a lot of time and capital trying to follow the story to see if there was truth to it. There's no truth for it. It's a blatant lie because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And so at the end of the day, this is like taking a grenade, throwing it into a room and saying, okay, let's create a diversion. Try to unexplode the grenade. You know what this is about? Bob Hugin knows that I have a huge double-digit lead with women in the state of New Jersey. Bob Hugin knows that you can't explain away how you fought with your own money through the federal courts of the United States, all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, to do what? To stop women from joining your all-male eating club. And then when you lost, you didn't even accept the loss as saying, okay, I had my day in court. You said, no, the woman who was leading the effort, which, by the way, I just found out was from Bayonne, New Jersey. I was in Bayonne last night, and somebody said to me when I mentioned the story that she's from Bayonne, New Jersey. Ultimately, he called her a politically correct fascist. This is a guy who wants to run away from the fact that now he says he's a different type of Republican, that he learned from those lessons. No, you didn't. When you gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to Donald Trump and helped elect him, even in the midst of all of the accusations against Trump, which some of the ladies have talked about here, when you gave the Heritage Foundation, a right-wing organization, $500,000 who opposes Roe versus Wade, who opposes women's reproductive rights, who opposes the rights of the LGBTQ community, you're not a different type of Republican. You're a fraud. This whole campaign has been a fraud on his part. So this effort is to create a distraction. He's putting nearly $2 million behind this ad in the 11th hour of a campaign because he can't answer you about all of the things that he stands for, that he stands against in terms of what the people of New Jersey care about. And with women, he has absolutely no credibility whatsoever. That's why he's doing this. One last question and then I'm going to go.
Senador, ¿ha pensado en entablar una denuncia legal, algo legal contra estas acusaciones?
Sí.
Y lo otro es, ¿cree que esto viene desde Washington, promovido desde Washington?
Mira, yo creo que este hombre es tan falso, es un fraude, y que actualmente está tan necesitado de que quiere ganar cualquier forma, y porque tiene millones y puede tratar de crear confusión con sus mentiras, que lo está haciendo por esa iniciativa. Sobre una demanda, estamos mirando a las posibilidades de una demanda, porque es inaceptable que una vida entera de servicio público a nuestro Estado, cualquier error que yo quizás he hecho, nunca he hecho un error por quién estoy luchando y por quién estoy peleando y por las cosas que yo he hecho en defensa de nuestra comunidad. Pero que él me vaya a destruir mi reputación de 40 años es inaceptable. Ahora, las demandas toman tiempo. Él tiene millones de dólares para mantenerlo a largo plazo, como ha hecho en otros casos, donde pagó 280 millones de dólares, cuando el gobierno federal lo acusó de fraude del Medicare, del Medicaid, en contra de los veteranos, de no decirle a los pacientes la posibilidad de que ellos vayan a ser efectuados con la posibilidad de que el uso de la medicina pudiera matar a personas. Y pagó 280 millones de dólares para extenderlo. Yo tengo 20 días para una elección. Las demandas vendrán, pero en este momento tengo que ganar esta elección. Thank you very much. Appreciate it all.